right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. These are the best of times and the worst of times. I'm shooting through YouTube right now and I see this vintage Disney Channel. And it's so cute. It's got like different scenes. In this one I'm watching right now, they're at a barbecue, Mickey and Donald, I guess. It looks like one of the characters from Scrooge McDuck. I can't remember the tall, skinny one, but it kind of looks more like him than Donald. And oh gee, you're getting my coffee cup. Yay. I was just gonna give you the pattern of my bedspread of the week. I don't know how to say. I can say du jour of the day. Anyway, there's my my kite over there. Anyway, so yeah, we're having fun. Meanwhile, that is so darling, and I'm thinking to myself, man, we just have so much fun in life right now. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have these little things you could poke into the plants and, such seasonal fun stuff, And so it's kind of neat that, now we're learning you can farm in your own house. You know what I mean? That's basil right there. Next to it's mint. No, that's oregano. And then over here is mint. And then this is basil, and the tall stuff, you'll notice I've got it everywhere, is ginger. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, too bad Andy isn't in here. Andy is short for androgyny. I'm rescued a pigeon, and I have no idea what gender it is. It's loquacious. That's what it is. It talks a lot. Anyway, I'm hiding in my room. Anyway, I love this bird, but it just and I just don't do well with that. And so I remember I got some finch for my birthday when I was in my 20s, and I was like, this is so not gonna work. And these kids wanted them so bad, and their mom just like gave me a look like you're not about to give me that problem. It was so funny. What I ended up doing is I just gave them to the pet shop. Whenever you have an exotic animal, even a dog or a cat, if it's particularly cute, if you take it to the animal shops or whatever, and especially if it's got its vaccinations and whatnot, I just surrender them. I've done it over and over again. The atrium lady got mad at me though because I had a raven. This raven was horrible. His name was Archimedes. He started to land on my head backward, and it looked like I was doing foul things with the thing. I don't know. It was just awful. I was like, do you have to land like this? It's just so undignified. Not to mention perilous to any movement. I couldn't walk around and whatnot. It was very uncoordinating. So anyway, getting back, I just wanted you guys to know that we really do live in the best of times, even though it seems like the worst of times because things are becoming so revelatory, where everyone realizes that there's might be a witch next door and greed abounds and people can see rape in their own living room. It's just awful. But isn't it fun that I can have a keyboard to rock out on? You know what I mean? It's the best of times. And it's the most revelatory of times. My grandmother used to say, experiences and lessons. We're lucky to have the challenges. If you're being challenged, I'm going to pause on that. But it's funny because God will not give you more than you can handle. And you're like, well, what about the people that are drowned and cornered? You'd be surprised how the more atrocious an attack on your body, a lot of times the less you'll actually. And a lot of it has to do with your spiritual armor, your mindset. You'd be shocked at how I've seen people hop around all day over a paper cut. Some people are extremely weak, and it's more mental than, a physical. Boy, have I got a lot to say on that, but I'm going to move on. I just wanted to have you guys address today all the really cool little comforts, all the little bells and whistles we have in our current life. And I was helping move in a woman for the domestic violence shelter into an apartment. It's just darling. It's tiny. But it has a microwave. It has this, and this. And I was thinking to myself how I was actually meeting with a royal from the UAE in the Middle East when I was there. And their accommodations weren't quite as nice. And I was like, dang, rock on America, So anyway, yeah, and she's really doing it, I've been able to see a lot of people work themselves up from disaster and near death. and really use the American system, you know. So I can understand why people really dream about coming here, because if you have wherewithal and if you have chutzpah and if you're willing to put in some elbow grease, pound the pavement and beat the bushes, you're going to find yourself coming up with gold, you know. And if there are problems, if you're having mental problems, those are spiritual problems. Get over it. Make sure you find out how to fix that first. That's your foundation, dude. Then you get to sit back and just enjoy the spoils, you know. When you're in other countries, as soon as you get something, somebody comes and steals it. Now, that can happen here. Sometimes accidentally, yes, you know, accident does happen, but there's a lot you can do to stay focused, constructive, and productive, and making sure that your things are taken care of. For example, when I look at a man who I've had in the last year, 4 of my single friends be very sad about life because they lost everything in their home. These are single guys who really love to just be the Don Juan. And they're like, man, I hate to go to work. Somebody robbed my stuff and took my stuff and vandalized my stuff. And I was like, yeah, well, that's kind of what happens when you don't have a wife there to protect it. I'm sorry, but 101 is 2. People don't like my opinions, and great, move on. But I have to make sense, you know, make it make sense. And I got to live in logic. And these Luciferian globalists with their Luciferian logic mean nothing to me. I'm sorry. You can tell me 2 and 2 is 5 till times get better, and it's just not going to have an effect on me. As my daddy said, I always consider the source. And because of that, I don't have to worry about you. And once I know, like, for example, you're not going to like this, but if I know you're vehement against Trump, if you're really anything but undecided and I kind of don't know, and you're like, no, I don't like him, then I'm just like, oh, well, I don't like you because you're malfeasant. You've done no research and you don't care at all. You're just busy flapping your lips, jabbing your jaw, and acting a fool. Like Daddy used to say, it's better to keep your mouth shut and let let the world think you're a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And boy, have these damn Democrats done that, because I sit back and listen to some of these fools. I hate Trump. Why? Well, he's a racist. Really? Where'd you see him do something racist? Not one person has been able to answer. Seriously, that's how bad it is. They set up stories. They set him up in many situations to look like a racist. And your average person doesn't even know about that. All they did is run with racists. Now that to me says it's just sad, pathetic, pitiful, and beneath my consideration when it comes to respecting opinion. And so what I'm going to do is sit back and do what I've always done. Like Daddy said, was keep both eyes open, keep both ears open, keep that darn brain and heart open, and make sure that my soul sifts it, and use my discernment and turn to my God and say, Father, please help me make some sense of this, because these fools don't know what they're doing. And I'm telling you now, if you reach out to God, he'll return it. But you've got to be sincere. You know, people go, I prayed for it and God doesn't answer prayers. Did you ever think that that might not have been a righteous desire? Did you ever consider that perhaps there's some aspect you did not have the ability to reflect upon? Perhaps he's heard conversations you haven't. Perhaps he's seen things you haven't. Perhaps he knows things you don't. And maybe he knows you better than you do you. You see, that's the thing. We have the veil. Because if we remembered all that crap we talked up in heaven, and you know we're all a bunch of spit talkers, I ain't even going to cuss when I go down there. I don't know how people going to end up in hell, because I'm going to be good, you know. And then you sew yourself into a box that you can't get out of because you talked all that. And now you're not free to be who you are. That's what you're here for. Celestial Boot Camp is to find out your mettle for yourself. God already knows who and what you are. He wants you to know for yourself what your capacities are so that you can decide what's going to make you happy and where you're going to fit in the universe. Thank you for letting me babble once again, and thank you for considering the things that I feel so strongly I need to share with others, because I really do. I love humanity. What can I tell you? Remember that God loves you, and so do I.